Josh Jacobs makes the case here on Radio Row. The Packers need a number one receiver, do they? Plus, Brayden Narveson, former Packers kicker, joins me to talk about his famous "pressure is a privilege" quote, how he handled his time in Green Bay and what it means to him, what he's going to do next now that it, of course, didn't work out. All of that on a loaded Locked On Packers from New Orleans, Super Bowl 59 Radio Row. Let's do it.
You are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter, Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find podcasts. You will find Locked On Packers, the number one Packers podcast on the internet, and the show for fans who know what happened. They want to know why and how. Thanks to everyone who makes Locked On Packers their first listen every day. We hope you like starting your day with us as much as we like starting our day with you. Our day started with Josh Jacobs making the rounds here on Radio Row in New Orleans for Super Bowl 59, talking openly about the fact that he thinks the Packers need a number one, a bona fide, we know now you're a number one wide receiver. Jaden Reed responded on social media that the fans were being rude. Dontavian Wicks hit it with some laugh crying emojis and the thumbs down. I don't know what that means exactly, but I happened to find a Packers fan, content creator extraordinaire Annie Agar, to talk about it with me here on Radio Row. Super Bowl 59, Radio Row, New Orleans, and I found another Packers fan.
Yes, there's quite a few of us around here.
There are. We were just talking to Tom Grossi.
Yep.
We had Aaron Nagler earlier on this week.
We have a whole Lambeau field basically over here.
Yeah.
Like
Honestly, we should have shot this.
That would have been cool. That's good.
I wanted to talk to you, though, because for a lot of reasons. But the first is Josh Jacobs was here earlier. All he wanted to talk about was, well, not all he wanted to talk about, but every takeaway on every interview was the Packers need a number one receiver.
Yeah.
Before he did that, did you think they did?
I didn't. And going into this year, I'm a big Jordan Love stan, obviously. But going into this year, I said the cool thing about it is we don't have a number one receiver. And Jordan Love will get the ball to whoever's open, which allows a lot more opportunities on offense. You know, we had Jaden Reed. It would just be a more spread offense, and it's harder for defenses, obviously, to play man or to cover that. But I didn't know he would include the entire other team. So I'm a little bit more worried about that than the number one wide receiver. I think our wide receivers are great. I get what Josh Jacobs is saying, though, and you mentioned earlier it might be a Devontae situation is what he was looking for.
It does. Like, when I hear that, he said he wanted to recruit. We're like in Philadelphia in post-game, and he's like, I'm going to be on the phone to some people. And, Max Crosby, Devontae Adams, and now he's here. I mean, he's in front of Lambeau Field, in front of the Packers PR guy. And he's like, yeah, I think we need a number one receiver.
Wow.
Doesn't he have to be speaking for Devontae Adams? That's
You would think so.
Would you agree to it?
100%. I wonder what fans think. Like Packers fans think it as a thing. They're not. I mean, we're a little bitter because he left and we offered him more money.
Yeah.
But it would be like the prodigal son returning. Like he got burned, now he comes back. But it's like in Infinity War, where he's like, "Where does that bring you? Back to me."
Oh, back to me.
Yeah, that's what happened. Come back to the Super Bowl winning machine. It was close. That was my fantasy. I don't do impressions, guys. That's not my content.
It's true.
Gosh.
Maybe something to add in next time. I don't know. We'll see.
If I want to lose followers.
If Devontae Adams wants to come back,
yes.
Are you worried about the hierarchy? Are you worried about that upsetting the balance in here because he's an older player? They've been avoiding that. Jaden Reed also a little spicy on Twitter because I think the problem is Packer fans are like, oh yeah, our guys suck. And it's like, well, that's not what Josh Jacobs said.
Yeah. You talked about this earlier too. We overreact. Packers fans overreact to everything. They're calling for Matt LaFleur's job. They were some idiot on Twitter said that said Jeff Hafley was the second coming of Joe Barry. What idiot would say something that dumb, guys?
Who would say that? Who would say that from your Twitter account? I don't know who would possibly say that.
I got hacked. No, I think it would be good. I think there's I thought Jordan Love is a good leader. I think he's a great leader, but I think we lack a little bit. I mean, we're young, super young NFL team. I think we lack a little bit of that. I think Devontae would be great. Bring him in the locker room. As long as he doesn't get all diva-y, like a lot of our wide receivers do, then I think we'll be fine. But what do you think about it? I think it would be a great addition.
I think it's sort of the perfect thing
It's
because
perfect.
he's coming back home. It's not he's going into some other place, and I think that gives him like the gravitas that maybe you wouldn't in a different situation.
Yeah.
Like, he's just some random guy coming in. Like when Julius Peppers came in, like imagine if Julius Peppers had started his career in Green Bay. It would have been totally like the vibe would have been even better,
Right.
and it was still really good.
Right.
So let's say they go get Devontae, let's just say. Do you think that, like, and have a decent draft, like, is that enough, or do they need to go, like, Khalil Mack, or they need to be in on Miles Garrett? Like, if they get Devontae Adams, would you just
I would go in on Miles Garrett like it's nobody's business. Oh my God, give him whatever he wants. I would think that's our first plan of attack because our pass rush sucked. It was rough. Like, sorry, but it was tough. And maybe that's where the whole Joe Barry thing came from. I saw prevent defense once and freaked out. No, I think it would be. I mean, Miles Garrett's going to make an impact on any team. You could basically list the teams that don't want him a lot easier than the teams that do want him. Everybody wants him. It's just a lot of teams don't have the cap space to get that. But I would go after him 1,000,000%. Don't you think?
I mean, look, if they can make it work, I don't know. It seems like the 49ers can offer better draft capital. The Bears could offer better draft capital. So it's like their pick is 23.
Commanders was like a top one. They have the third most cap space.
Commanders would also be a good Devontae Adams destination. I think that would make a lot of sense if you wanted to go there.
Especially with Jaden Daniels.
That would be really good. That'd be really fun.
Jordan Love is better than Jaden Daniels.
Okay, where are you on Jordan Love? Because I made the joke to Carmen Vitale yesterday that there were like some people last year, everyone was super excited about Jordan Love.
It's because we thought his ceiling was so high. We'd only seen him a little bit. I think he's got a lot more to learn than I thought he did. Is the issue. And some of it's so Brett Favre-esque, guys. Like those throws. And every time you throw the ball, you'd hold your breath. Like this is either going to be the best throw you've ever seen, or it's going to go right into the defender's hands. And that was
into three defenders.
Yeah, into 3 defenders' hands. It was very thrilling, but very scary. And he's our franchise guy. Like I think we have a franchise quarterback. I think he can get us to Super Bowl. I'm just a little worried about how long that will take.
Okay, so you think he's a good leader? You think he's got a little bit of YOLO in him? Like, what's the next step then? Or is it just like, hey, you get Devontae Adams and we're ready to go?
See, if you give him a little more structure, get someone that is going to say, hey, in these third down situations, let's not panic. Let's not force throws. Forcing throws was probably his worst.
Devontae on 3rd and 6.
Yeah.
Get open.
And if he has a reliable wide receiver, maybe he won't panic as much because he'll know he's going to that guy. Instead of having to figure out who to toss the ball up to and it not working out. Yeah, I think it's just having a little bit more structure. And it's not like Matt LaFleur's a good coach. It's not like he doesn't know how to call a great game. Or just in the red zone for some odd reason, play calling just went a bad word.
A word you almost said.
Oh, I almost did, guys.
That you almost said on my show.
I did.
You would bleep it on your video.
I would. Yeah, I don't really swear. Unless I'm watching Packers games.
I talked to Dominique Easley earlier, and we're going to have to bleep a couple of those. And he said, sorry for the language, but it doesn't matter. I still got to fix it. So we're good.
It's like saying no offense and then saying something super offensive.
Exactly. Well, yeah. But luckily he didn't offend me. So let the audience know.
Yeah.
They follow you on Twitter probably. But you're doing a ton of stuff this week.
Yeah.
You're going to talk to Jordan Love.
I have an NFC fan video coming out today. So keep an eye out for that, guys.
Okay. Anything
There are
else?
some
What are we doing?
Packers fans involved in it. I'm doing Toyota. I'm doing something with Toyota. See if the people know. I'm doing something with Toyota. Guess who I'm interviewing, guys?
I already blew it.
Jordan Love. Did you say it? Oh, I didn't even hear it. Way to ruin my joke. Yes, I'm interviewing Jordan Love with Toyota for Toyota Time tomorrow, and that'll be posted on my socials. And yeah,
NFL honors.
NFL honors. A couple of more interviews. I have to make sure I don't have to be on. Yeah.
Thanks, Ann.
That'd be great. Thank you.
All right, we'll get to our conversation with Brayden Narveson, former Packers kicker and a really impressive guy. I can't wait for you to hear that conversation. That's coming up next on Locked On Packers. Super Bowl 59 is here. One game, 2 teams, endless possibilities, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether it's predicting the first touchdown, calling the MVP, or even betting on the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to get in on the action. With live betting all game long, you can adjust your bets as the game unfolds and feel the thrill from kickoff to the final whistle. The live betting feature lets you stay involved no matter what happens on the field, and the app is super easy to navigate. Plus, knowing that you can place a $5 bet and potentially win $200 in Super Bowl bets, that's icing on the cake. And the $5, you could go to the point spread on the Super Bowl. FanDuel has it close right now. Chiefs slightly favored. Kansas City laying 1.5 against Philadelphia this Sunday. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59. All right, we're here, Radio Row, Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. I got Brayden Narveson here, kicker.
Oh my God.
And we're already getting dapped up with Josh Jacobs, who, by the way, we're going to talk to tomorrow. I want to start here. When you first got to Green Bay, you had a quote about pressure.
Oh, yeah.
That if you don't feel it, you either don't care or you're lying.
Correct.
And you said pressure is a privilege.
Absolutely.
I love the whole sentiment behind that. How did you, because you said that, like, I believe this deeply, like you've thought about it. Is that something that you do because you have to manage pressure?
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. I think pressure is a privilege. I think at the end of the day, everything that you do builds up, right? And we work at this every single day from morning to night. And if you don't believe that pressure is a privilege and that you are in a spot to show everybody how hard you've worked, then I think you're just wrong. I mean, that's just how I feel about it. It's true to my core. I mean, I think I have it in my Instagram or something, but I just believe it deep down.
Yeah, because you even said at the end of the quote, you were like, it's an opportunity to show how hard you've worked.
Absolutely.
And then you're almost flipping like the idea of pressure on like, no, it's an opportunity. It's not something to be afraid of.
Right. I think everybody, when you get into a game, everybody, regardless of who you are, you're going to be nervous. I've asked top of the line players that I've played with, hey, like they've been in the league 10 years, like, man, are you nervous for this game? Yeah, I am, and the nerves is just because you understand the pressure that comes with it, but the pressure is a privilege because there are so many different people in all walks of life that would love to do what I do, even for one game, and so I think that privilege is just being able to show people how hard you work and that, it is attainable regardless of your situation, regardless if, like for me, you have diabetes or regardless of what your walk of life is, like you can do whatever you want to do. And at the end of the day, that pressure becomes a privilege.
Let's go back a little bit because you were in Tennessee in the preseason. And you're competing, but you understand that the guy who's got the job is coming off a year where he made like 90+% of his kicks. Like, so you're really just trying to go out there and like say, hey, this is who I am. You're really auditioning for 31 other teams, right? So how do you stay focused on that part of it, understanding that like, yeah, you're competing, but you're kind of like you're kind of not.
No, and kind of the thought process going into Tennessee was, hey, Nick's going to be our guy. We're going to give you reps in preseason, and it's essentially a tryout for 31 other teams, just like you said. And at the end of the day, for me, there's going to be highs and lows and everything. But if I can just stick to my mental process and stick to, okay, how can I be the best version of myself from now until the end of preseason to put myself in a spot where, people that are watching are going to say, hey, we want to bring Braden in. That was my main goal. Just every time I step on the field, whether it was preseason, whether it was the regular season, whatever it was, how can I better myself and be the best version of myself from now until the end of it? And so that's kind of what I carried.
Yeah. So you get your opportunity then in Green Bay, and a really unique situation because they move on from their kicker who they had, and then they bring you in, no preseason, like you're on the team for 15 minutes, and then you got to go out there and start the season with them. What was that? That had to have been a whirlwind for you.
It was wild, especially going to Brazil, for the first game. That was insane. Blessed, very, very fortunate for that. And, I had talked with Green Bay a little bit before the preseason, just interviewing with them in senior games and stuff like that. So I was a little bit familiar with the culture and what they were, trying to do there. It's funny, I still remember the conversation with Byron, who was the special teams coach, and when he interviewed me, he's like, hey, we're not looking to do anything right now, but this could be something that could happen in the future. We just want to make you aware of it. And, it ended up happening.
So you go to Brazil, and that field is a mess. Was it as bad as it seemed on TV?
Yeah, it was slippery. I think they watered it right before or something. It was pretty slippery.
So, but then you go out and you've got to perform now.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, I would say, your best performance.
No.
But so that happens. How do you recoup? How do you get reset from a performance like that?
I mean, I think I was 3 of 4 that game
Yeah.
and made all my PATs. It was the first NFL game, right? So
Yeah.
you're still feeling.
Yeah, I don't want to make it seem like you were
You're still
terrible, but you
feeling
did
it out.
have the miss, and so
did.
Packer fans
I
are going to
did.
have a little bit of like, oh, here we go again,
Right.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's part of it, right? I mean, you see the greatest of all times miss, you just got to bounce back, right? It's not, if you're, the pressure's a privilege, right? If you're scared to go back out there, you're not in the right sport. And at the end of the day, like, misses are going to happen, shut them out, bounce back. And, unfortunately, I had obviously, not what I would call a great season.
Yeah.
And, something that I'm building on and that I'm going to continue to build on because I know I'm so much better than those misses and what they are. And I'm just going to keep going. I mean, at the end of the day, you lean on your teammates, you lean on your support system, you lean on people that are around you, and then you just get your nose right back into the work.
We got more with Brayden Narveson coming up here on Locked On Packers from Radio Row in New Orleans. Today's episode brought to you by our friends at Betterhelp. What do you want your 2025 story to be? Every January brings a new chapter. 365 blank pages waiting for you to fill. If there's a part of your life you want to rewrite or a plot twist you've been craving, why wait? Life isn't about fleeting resolutions. It's about taking control and becoming the author of your own story. Think of therapy as your personal editor, helping you craft the life you deserve. It's not just for crisis situations. Therapy can help you develop healthier coping strategies, improve your relationships, and empower you to be the best version of yourself, whether you're facing a challenge or just looking for personal growth. Therapy is a powerful tool to help guide your journey. Whether it's learning how to set boundaries or tackling stress in new ways, therapy can help you develop skills for a better tomorrow. Even if you've never tried therapy, the benefits are clear. Finding someone to talk to and gaining fresh perspectives can make all the difference in how you navigate life's ups and downs. Write your story with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedon to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. You hear people say that. I'm going to build on that. But how do you do that? Like especially when it doesn't go the way you wanted and you know you're better, how do you break through whatever ceiling was holding you back from being that best version of yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the greatest things is Kobe said it, and he was like, you got to analyze every miss analytically and not emotionally. And when you tie misses or when you tie even positive things to emotions and not, analyzing, okay, what did I do here? Then you're going to be in a bad spot, right? When you're playing on emotions instead of playing on like, okay, this is routine, this is process. I've done this 100,000 times. If I continue to do this, okay, what was wrong in my process there? What did I not do? And that's where you go back to film. Okay, I didn't take a breath right here that I always take, and I never miss when I take a breath, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
You analyze it, you look at it, and then from there you move on and say, okay, next time I go out there, boom, this is my thought process. Got to do this, got to be here. And then, for whatever happens, good or bad, you can't ride those waves of the highs and lows. You gotta stay even keeled through the whole process.
All right, so what's next for you in the NFL?
I'm gonna keep training. I'm gonna keep working, and I feel better than ever right now. And I'm willing to say that to anybody that whoever ends up with me is gonna be very, very happy with that, and I truly believe that. And I'm gonna keep believing that. So keep training, keep working, and when the call comes, I'm gonna be ready. So.
Are you a golfer? Like all the kickers are golfers.
I am, yeah.
Well, how's the game?
It's good. It's good. It's good. I'm a scratch, so.
This guy.
Yeah.
Have you always been?
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of things that translate from because it's about my process. It's about repeatable motion. There's the hand-eye coordination, even though it's like leg-eye.
Right.
But,
no, correct.
But so it just seems like there's this innate translation between those two.
Yeah, and it's all routine. It's all mental. It's all the same like hip motion. The way that you're coming through football is the same way you come through the golf ball. I mean, we'll
do swing tips after.
There's tons of translation. So.
You mentioned the diabetes part of this. How long has that been something that you've been having to manage, and how have you found to manage it?
So initially, I might have been born with it. I have no idea. We found out I was diagnosed when I was a junior. In high school. And it was really tough initially because I was giving myself shots and really had to figure out, a better way to do that. And so actually this Omnipod that I've got on here saved everything. It really, really helped me. I'm now in a spot where I get to, play free and not have to think about it just because this actually connects to my CGM, which is a continuous glucose monitor. And throughout the game, they are in a loop, making sure that everything is working properly. And I'm just so blessed for that and for the ability to be able to manage it and have something that is manageable instead of something that's not.
All right, let's end on this. Even though your tenure in Green Bay did not end the way that you would have liked, what is going to be your takeaway from that experience? What will you have learned? What will you remember about it?
I mean, gosh, there's so many, but I've just learned how to be a pro. I really learned that it's here and gone very, very quick, and you really got to cherish the moments. And I learned that I'm not going to let anything stop me from getting to where I want to be. I took a lot of lessons from that. I took a lot of friendships from that, and I'm going to build on that. And from there, I'm just going to continue to get better. And next time the opportunity comes, it's gonna stick. So
I believe you, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
All right, thanks to Annie Agar for joining the show today. Thanks to Brayden Narveson for joining the show today. We've got a big one tomorrow. Josh Jacobs. Yeah, that Josh Jacobs. We're going to talk about Devontae Adams. We're going to talk about this number one wide receiver thing. And then A.J. Dillon is going to be with us talking about his future in Green Bay, his experience in Green Bay, why he loves it, all that good stuff. That's tomorrow on Locked On Packers from New Orleans, Radio Row, our last show, but that doesn't mean our last content hit. We have got plenty more to come that we'll bring you next week and throughout the offseason here from Radio Row in New Orleans. Until then, follow me on all the social medias, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on all the social medias, Locked On Packers. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe wherever you get podcasts so you can stay Locked On Packers.